Okay, picture this. 12,000 years ago. We're talking long before the pyramids, way before Stonehenge, even before anyone had figured out farming. Hunter-gatherers in what's now Turkey were, well, they were doing something that should have been impossible. They were building these massive stone temples, the world's first, only to deliberately bury them and let them be lost to time. We thought we'd found the center of their world at a site called Göbekli Tepe. Turns out, we might have been barely scratching the surface.
So, what if the most important pieces of this puzzle are still out there, just hidden under the dirt, waiting for the right pair of eyes to see them? That's what we're digging into today. We're going to follow a brand new kind of explorer, an artificial intelligence, on a high-tech hunt for the lost ruins of this incredible ancient world. All right, let's get into it. So the whole story starts with this network of sites that archaeologists call Taş Tepeler, which just means stone mounds. And for like a century, the rulebook said you needed farms and agriculture to get the huge workforce you need to build monuments. Well, Taş Tepeler just blew that whole theory out of the water. These places were built by people who were hunting gazelle and gathering wild plants. It proves that maybe it wasn't a surplus of food that sparked civilization, but a powerful shared belief system.
And we're not just talking about one site. This was a whole phenomenon. We know of at least 12 major sites now. You've got the famous one, Göbekli Tepe, which is this huge man-made hill just packed with those iconic T-shaped pillars. But then there's Karahan Tepe, which is a totally different beast. They carved chambers and columns right out of the solid bedrock, or Cyberch, with these unbelievably detailed carvings that tell a story. This wasn't just one temple. It was a huge, interconnected, ritual landscape. So the big question is, in a region this massive and rugged, how on earth do you find the next one?
Well, you can't just walk it. I mean, it's just too big, it would take forever. So you bring in a digital detective. And that's where SitehunterAI comes in. Its whole mission is to scan high-resolution satellite photos of the entire region, hunting for those tiny telltale signs of another lost temple buried just beneath the surface.
The AI is trained to look for really specific things. The faint circular shadows of buried walls, or that subtle bump in the landscape that just doesn't look natural. It churns through mountains of data, looking for patterns that look like the sites we already know about. And after its first big sweep, it came back with a list. 20 new, high-priority targets that just might be the next big discovery. But, and this is a big but, this is where things get really tricky. You see, the AI is incredibly smart, but the landscape, it's a master of disguise. For every real potential temple, there are dozens of fakes, what you could call digital decoys, that look almost exactly the same from space. And you can see why right here. Nature and modern life are perfect forgers. A circular sinkhole, a totally natural feature, can look exactly like a buried temple from orbit. Shepherds today build stone corrals for their goats using the same rocks the ancients used. Even old-school threshing floors for farming happen to match the size and shape of the enclosures at Göbekli Tepe. To the AI, they all look tantalizingly similar. And this quote from the analysis just nails the problem perfectly. For the AI, a computer network, the math is basically the same. A sinkhole and a temple look so similar they're almost identical. So the real challenge is, how do you sort the treasure from the trash? Can the AI actually see through all that noise? Well, out of those 20 leads, most of them ended up being pretty questionable. Probably just modern farms or weird geology. But two of them were different. They stood out and proved that the AI, despite all those decoys, was actually onto something huge. First, the AI had to prove it wasn't just guessing. It had to prove it could find something that we know is real. And it did, with a lead that was designated INF-12. So this lead, INF-12, was about 6 kilometers away from the major site of Karahan Tepe. Now here's the really cool part. When you plot that location on a map, it sits on a perfect straight line that points directly at a known, smaller satellite site called Harbetsevan Tepsi. So what happened here is that the AI didn't discover a new site, it independently rediscovered a known one. And that is massive. It's the control for the whole experiment. It proves the algorithm isn't just seeing ghosts in the data. It can spot the real thing. It works. Okay, so its method was validated. The AI had proven its worth. But then it revealed its most important target, a lead that wasn't a confirmation, but a total mystery. It's known only as INF-1. For every lead, the AI gives a confidence score. Most were really low. But for this one target, INF-1, it came back with this number, 0.5142.
a clear signal rising above all the noise. Now, by itself, that number doesn't mean much. But when you put it in context, it is a bombshell. The AI's confidence score for INF1 is nearly 3 times higher than the next best lead. This isn't just a hint. This is the AI basically screaming that whatever is at this location is profoundly, statistically different from everything else it analyzed. It's a massive anomaly.
So, what is it? The coordinates for INF1 put it just under 4 kilometers directly west of Göbekli Tepe itself. It's sitting on the exact same limestone ridgeline, which is prime real estate for these sites. And here's the kicker. When you check all the archaeological maps, all the official records, there's nothing there. It's a completely unknown, high-confidence target in the perfect spot.
So now, the AI's job is done. It's given us its treasure map. It has pointed to one specific spot on the globe and said, look here. The digital detective work can only take us so far. Now, the real-world investigation has to kick off.
And there's a really clear plan for how to solve this mystery. First, archaeologists need to get out there and scan the site with LiDAR. That creates a super detailed 3D map of the ground that would show an artificial mound instantly. Step 2, check old declassified spy satellite photos from the 60s. If the anomaly isn't in those pictures, it's modern and we can forget about it. Third, a geologist has to go out there and definitively rule out a sinkhole. And finally, you model the ancient environment. Was this spot overlooking a key water source or an animal migration path 12,000 years ago?
And that's where we have to leave it, with a single set of coordinates and this extraordinary possibility. The AI has handed us the most compelling, data-driven lead for a major discovery in a generation. The only thing left is for archaeologists to put boots on the ground and see what's actually there. So the question we're all left with is this. Is the next chapter of human history a lost sister temple to Göbekli Tepe just waiting for us right now over the next hill?